Here I'm here with the apple dog. The apple dog. We're gonna go for a walk on the beach. We'll go for a walk on the beach this morning. All right, we got apple pie. You got to get out there and enjoy it. So I've been found this guy on YouTube. He's a rabbi, and his name is Simon. It's Simon. He pronounces it, I think, Simon Jacobson. And he's been around for a long time. Apparently, he wrote a book called "A Meaningful Life," or "The Meaningful Life," or "A Way to a Meaningful Life," or something like that. And he's got a organization that's his organization also. But he's really interesting to listen to. And I think one of the things that's, when you hear somebody like that, is you've experienced life and you've learned a lot about life, and you've had a lot of the thoughts and the ideas and about the subject matter that he covers, but that's what he spends his time doing. That's what his gift is to help people think about these big fundamental life issues and life philosophies and those kinds of things. And so it was really good. So one of the, he's talked about a lot of stuff and that really hits home, and he does a good job, and he has good analogies. But one of the things in one of the videos I watched was he talks about lightness, the light and the dark, and beyond the light and the dark. And we use the analogy of light and dark, and also the seasons of the year, to as an analogy, as a comparison to our life ups and downs. And when things are good, we feel like we say we're in the light, and when things are bad, we say we're in the dark, and stuff like that. Or also when we're in the unknown, we say we're in the dark. And that's both an analogy, but there's also real physical things for why humans use those analogies, is because we actually do, when we're in the light and we're get outdoors in the morning and we enjoy the sunlight, we actually do feel better. It's not just an analogy, but our bodies are actually designed to produce more dopamine and to get going. So it's this, and when we're in the dark, we want to go to sleep, or we feel scared because we can't see or sense things. So it's an analogy to life in a big picture, but there's also real connection between the light and the dark in the physical sense, and that's why we use it as an analogy. But in his talk, he talks about what's beyond the light and the dark. And sometimes life experiences are so dramatic, or life as a whole, if you think about it, life as a whole is not light or dark. If you think about just the overall span of our life, the whole thing together, we get back more to the oneness. And if you believe in God, whatever religion you're in, mostly that, for most people, that God means some sort of what we call a singularity, or it's a point of origin where everything came from, and we're all connected back to it. And that's beyond light and dark. Light and dark came from that, so it's beyond light and dark. And he talks about that in not in that big scope, but also just in the fact that as we go through certain experiences in life, things get so beyond our control. It's beyond this idea of light and dark. It's beyond us. It's beyond our comprehension of why and how we got to where we were in some situation. And it could actually, most of the time when people talk about that, they talk about it in some sort of hardship situation. But it actually, if you look at like people who've had extreme success, like particularly like entertainers and things like that, actually, what we would consider to be what people are shooting for, a certain goal or something, when they get too much of that too quickly, that is also a similar situation. It kind of all comes back to the same. It's like circular, like things can go completely so wrong and so haywire from what we anticipated, that we're sort of beyond this idea of light and dark. And I guess you could kind of say it also goes the other way, and it all comes back to a circle. It's like there's a balance that our brains are able to comprehend, and once we get outside of that, beyond that, however we get there, and life will take you there, some people more than others, but you know, you're beyond that point. And what he's saying is that, and I love this, is that that's where a lot of our knowledge comes from. Many people have said this, and anybody who experiences that and goes through it, you know, we know this, the saying of these hardships make us stronger, with both physical hardships and mental hardships. And really they're all connected, mental, physical, it all kind of connects together in the body. But some things seem to evolve out of the brain, and some things evolve out of the body. And well, you know, so but that's the really good point, is that there's this part of life that's so not understood, that you can't really define it as light or dark. It humbles us because it's beyond us. And that's where a lot of our great life lessons come from. And we need and one of the terms, it always comes back to it, is gratitude and being grateful. So if we get into those situations and those places in life where then we know to be grateful for just our existence, just the fact, hey, we're experiencing this and it's teaching us something, and there's some reason and purpose for it, and we don't even know what that is yet. And we're going to be grateful for that. And it's when you start to become grateful for this unknown, you start to become humble, meaning there's so much, most of what is out there in the universe we don't even comprehend. And so we become humble. And that lesson of being humble is related to this lesson of being grateful. And it's this lesson of things that are beyond the light and the dark. So, you know, I love that. I love listening to that, because these are things that we contemplate and we work with, but he put that in he put things in a really good context that way. And a lot of his stuff I've enjoyed. I've only just found out about him just during the last few days, but I've watched several of his videos, because he is so good, and he's an interesting character. But anyhow, I love you, and Apple and I are going to get in the light, because we understand the beach, and we know that's in the light. That's not beyond us, is it, apple pie? Is it pie? No, we got to jump in the ocean. Jump in the ocean. Oh yes, that sounds good. I'll cool my belly off. Yeah. We've got some fairly warm weather for February. All right, I love you.